Wow, what a couple of months we have just had with Apple stock. For those of you who have been sitting under a rock not paying attention, let me enlighten you. You remember that trillion-dollar company called Apple about half a year ago? Yeah, that's a thing of the past. It ain't no trillion-dollar company anymore. It's now worth about $700 billion, only $700 billion. And it's down about 36% from its all-time highs. Welcome back to another video, guys. Good to have you, obviously. And in this video, I wanted to talk about 4 key points. First, what exactly has happened to Apple stock? Second, what has caused this to happen to Apple stock? Third, why even though all this bad news, this bad, let's just say drama and things coming out about Apple stock, I still think Buffett will be buying big into the company. And fourth, what am I doing? What is Cooper doing? Am I buying Apple? Am I staying away? And those are the 4 things that we're going to address in the video. Timestamps below. But before we get started, don't forget to drop a like on the video if you still think that Buffett has got his touch. I hear lots of people saying, don't look at what Warren Buffett's doing. He's lost his touch. He used to be a great investor. He's 86 or 85 years old now. Don't look at what he's saying. He's too old. He doesn't know what he's talking about anymore, basically. And people were saying this in 1999 as well, when tech stocks were just shooting to the moon, and everyone thought they were getting rich, and Buffett was saying, no, perhaps we should be a little bit more conservative, and he was buying conservative stocks. People were saying, no, Buffett has lost his touch. And then obviously what happened after that? You know, it was the tech bubble, and it crashed, it popped, as with all bubbles. So give it a like if you think Buffett has still got it. Obviously he does, so drop a like. So I wanted to start this thing off with getting precise. Apple, over the past 6 months, it's been pretty rocky times. They peaked at a price that was $232, and ever since then, it's been going, let's just be honest, straight down. As I say, it's down over 36%, and the price is currently $150. So Apple is now below Amazon, Microsoft, and Google in terms of market cap. So what has caused this price decrease? So at around that $232 peak, Tim Cook, he made an announcement that Apple would no longer be reporting iPhone, Mac, and iPad unit sales. And also, that obviously means we will no longer be able to see the average selling price of things. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer, said that a unit of sale is less relevant today than it was in our past, adding that the number of units sold does not necessarily represent the relative health of a product's underlying business. And guys, I gotta be honest, I think this is one of the worst excuses I've ever heard in my life. Come on, the sales of iPhones is still very relevant to the core use of the business. That's what we do as analysts. We analyze how the business makes money, and then we make projections on how it will continue to make money in the future. So we look at things like iPhone sales, and then we say, will they be able to continue these sales in the future? If we can't look at the iPhone sales, if they're not releasing or reporting these figures on iPhone sales, then how are we gonna analyze the business more in depth? It just annoys me so much, guys. I'm sorry about the rant, but I honestly think managers have overstepped their mark when they say, oh no, we're not gonna report this to the shareholders. The shareholders are the owners of the business. They should have the overriding say, not the people who manage our business for us. Sorry about the rant, but let's continue on. So then 2019 comes around, and I guess people were hoping things might pick up. Wrong. Apple had another big drop, and this sunk the market with it as well. And this time it was because Tim Cook wrote a letter to Apple shareholders, essentially saying something along the lines of, you remember how we said revenue for the first quarter 2019 was going to be between $89 to $93 billion? Yeah, well it's not going to happen. It's actually going to be about $84 billion. Just missing the mark by at least $5 billion. And the report goes on to say why, including things like China sales and the US dollar. So you know, that's a lot of negative news to come out in a relatively short period of time. You know, saying, we're not going to be reporting iPhone sales. I know that we get most of our money from iPhone sales, but we won't report them. Also, we did say $89 to $93 billion in revenue. Nope, can't do that. Only we'll do about $84 billion for you guys though. So it's natural that the share price is sunk, because guys, it is a worry when Apple say we're not not going to be showing iPhone sales anymore. As you can see, their iPhone sales growth has been pretty stagnant for a number of years now. And when they stop showing us this number, questions come to mind. Questions like, can they sustain their iPhone sales in the future? But now I wanted to explain to you that even though all of this bad news has come, I think Buffett is still going to be buying large into Apple stock. So we know that Warren Buffett was buying Apple stock, obviously through his investment firm Berkshire Hathaway, at a price that was around $183 to $228 back in 2018. Those were what we found out from the latest filings. And now the price is a whole lot cheaper than what it was originally when he was buying the stock. $150, that's 20 to 30% cheaper than what he originally bought the stock at last year. And anyone who knows anything about Buffett will know that he loves when people panic, and he loves to see a stock that he owns decrease in price. Why? Because he can buy more of that stock at a cheaper price. I mean, one of his most famous sayings is, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. I think Buffett will be greedily getting his hands into more Apple stock. That's my bet to you guys. Another reason that Buffett is buying Apple is because he's still going to get a decent return on his investments even with absolutely zero growth in the company's earnings. Let me explain. So one easy way to see the expected return of a company is dividing the earnings by the price of the company. Anyone who understands value investing should know this. If you don't, go watch my video about how to invest in stocks 2019. But Apple currently have earnings of $11.91 per share. If we divide this by the price of $150.75, we get around a 0.08 mark, meaning an 8% return. Meaning if Apple do absolutely nothing to grow their earnings in the future, they will still get a decent 8% return on your Apple stock investments. But, they should be able to grow their earnings, considering that their services segment is growing at a range of 20 to 35% per year. It's not just going to randomly decrease. The next thing that I would like to point out is that Apple have $130 billion of net cash in their pockets. So this is just an added bonus if you buy the business. You get a portion of that net cash. That's $26 you get for every share you buy. So when you pay $150 for the business, for the stock, that's really only $124 because they're giving you $26 in immediate cash. So Apple's PE ratio is realistically, if you include the stat, only 10.4, meaning it should take you around 10 years to get your money back with zero earnings growth. And obviously we can't forget Apple's brand name and moat. I've talked about this a lot. Apple is a company that is known for its prestige and quality products. This is why customers are willing to pay that much more for an Apple device than a Samsung or Android device. Its quality, its prestige, it's ingrained in our culture to own Apple products. Okay, so this graph just shows you where Apple gets most of the revenue from. As you can see, iPhone sales is still the most relevant revenue source from Apple's revenue, total revenue. It's one of the reasons why I was so annoyed that they decided to stop showing shareholders the iPhone sales figures. But one of the most important things we should be aware of is that Apple are doing really well with their services segments. As you can see, it's slowly and slowly taking up a bigger portion of the total pie. Now this is really good because the services segment is an effective way of doing business because it's got very minimal costs compared to the normal way of doing business. You don't have to pay all of the costs to make and distribute the iPhone. The services segment, you just need the internet and to upkeep your what do you call them, programs. So you really see high margins on the segment. So Apple have a great price at the moment, guys, a growing services segment, and potentially good total return. But here's the reason why I'm not buying Apple at the moment. And the reason is I just haven't seen a pattern of any potential change in the stock price yet, meaning the stock may still go down in price further as it is on a downward price pattern, at least in the short term, at least over the past couple of months. It's just really been going straight down. As you can see, the price is well below the 50-day, the 90-day, the 180-day moving average, meaning the stock may have further to fall. It's not showing me that it's gonna, move above the average and show some positive price trends. I want to wait until the price stabilizes a bit and shows a bit of a positive trend before I enter the stock. As I say, you don't have to follow what I do, guys. You can do what Buffett is most likely doing, and that's just dollar cost averaging this dip. So he's just continually buying as the price gets cheaper and cheaper. Or don't buy the stock at all. At the end of the day, it's your decision to make. It's your money, which means you have to do all the research and make the hard calls for your portfolio and your buys. Well, guys, that's me for another video. It's a very interesting stock. I'm sure I'll be releasing a couple of videos on Apple stock this year. It's one of those stocks that I just love to track, and I might be buying into the stock at some point. I just want to wait until we see a price sort of change that it's going to be heading upwards, at least in the near term future. And guys, I'm not going to have a like goal for this video because you guys have absolutely been killing the like goals lately. I think in one of my videos I got like over 600 likes, so I'm a bit greedy asking for more likes. So I'm very grateful to everyone who has been liking the video. That's all we have for today, guys. Have a good morning, and if I don't see you again, have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night. The cheesiest thing I've said in my life, but I'll say it again. Oh, and guys, if you wonder why I say that in some of my videos, it's because I recently watched The Truman Show, and he says that in the movie, and it's actually quite a good movie, to be honest. But yeah, that's why I say it. It's just a joke.